eastern states, we are yet to, see that kind of momentum added. An ordinary citizen of Manipur can ask these questions to the government, that if Arunachal, Assam, they gain a positive growth, but why my exports got a negative? But there is a story that Manipur is also having lots of informal trade that is not counted. Next. Now, if I may come to Southeast Asia, then I will bring the engagement with the Manipur and Northeast. Three countries, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Singapore. These three countries, India is having trade deficit. This figure tells you the trend line. The red line is basically our import from them. Blue line is our export. Between them is growing high for obvious reasons. If you come to the next slide, please. These data tells you, very micro level data. Today, most of our computers, parts and accessories, smartphones like this or yours, semiconductors, electronic integrated circuits, actually India is importing parts and components all from these three countries. That is why the deficit is rising with them. And as you know that in April, May, June, July, August, September, the 6 months, India's total smartphone exports has exceeded $10 billion. Smartphone is the second largest exports to the American markets from India. So these are all parts are actually imported, assembled in India, and then re-exported, or after value added, we export it. So this we call production links, Professor Priya Ranjan calls it, and we call it global value chain, so on and so forth. So this is, just a beginning, by the way. This is just a beginning. So ASEAN is kind of an opportunity. Our bilateral trade with ASEAN is 140 billion, and expected in next 10 years it will be huge number, by the way. So don't lose your hope with Southeast Asia. It is an opportunity we yet to utilize. Next, please. Some of the examples like automobile, computer, medicine, this medicine, everybody in this hall, you consume, right? I don't need to tell you. Half of the population, if I ask you, raise your hand who is not diabetic, I think I won't see any hand going up. This is a very popular diabetic medicine. Most of this is coming from China or Singapore. The ingredients that is assembled. Next. Similarly, this electronic gadget. Next. Hello, what's up? Next. Smartphone, like Apple iPhone 15. There are several parts came from Cambodia using the free trade routes. Next. So what we see, very healthy structure, trade, integration, value chain, lots of prosperity, lots of happiness, lots of companies, startups, business, lots of engagement with chambers of commerce, good things. But what is there in the northeastern part of India, that's the question, that's we should ask in here. But if you come to, a trilateral highway and its extension, we have big projects for a very long time. But as I said in the beginning, that if you do anything beyond your border, that doesn't always with you. 50 kilometer, the missing link on the hill in the Myanmar. Next slide. 50 kilometer was missing link. Our company was asked by 2022 to leave by the Myanmar's government. Still now, I could not start the work there. Just in little construction on the hill. Rest part of the trilateral highway is almost ready, except the replacement of the bridges, 69. So, I have given it, by, segments, which part is completed, like More to Kalewa, and then Kalewa to Yargi to Monewa to Mandle. So, 50 kilometer on the hill between Kalewa to Yargi, something stopped by 2021, the government in Myanmar, the military government. And 69 bridges, that it pending was High Court in Manipur, then it went to the Supreme Court. 69 replacement bridge got stuck in the political issues, so we actually delayed for many reasons. Now, had this was ready, we could have Manipur is the entry port or exit. We could have made lots of progress, in that, because that's what's happening in the rest part of India, at the moment in southern part of India or western part of India. Next, please. There is another project which is connecting northeast with the Kaladan. Next. The port part is completed last year, but we could not complete the connecting road from Myanmar, Palewa to Jorinpuri in Mizoram. But good point is that same military government, since as you know that Chin province and Sagaing province is not controlled by Nepito, except the Situate town. So construction has started slowly. That's what I have seen the presentations. Next. So construction for the highway part from Palewa to Jorinpuri, 110 kilometers, by the way. So what we see in the activist phase in the post-COVID, there are 5 distinct progress happened. I'm going to close, in just in a 1 minute time. One is that we have lots of digital linkages, but Northeast people or the Manipur is yet to utilize it. We call it a fintech relation. Second is trade in local currency, faster customs, cultural cooperation, Nalanda University, for example, and except Brunei or Laupedia, all is having a direct flight now. Even in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, all having multiple flights in multiple cities. So we see a surge in terms of its connectivity. Next, please. What is happening in the northeast, in the backyard of Manipur? We had an issue with the Bangladesh. Bangladeshi people have decided to redraw its future, its destiny by their own, leaving aside what it used to be earlier. So our connectivity through Bangladesh is actually postponed. But that doesn't stop us. Like in the projects like the Bhutan is coming up with a smart city at Galefu, and then semiconductor plant in Tata, and Japanese is coming up with 30,000 investments in Assam. Several things are happening in Assam, and you can see that Assam and Delhi, they're double engine, right? That's what, there's no doubt. So Assam is benefiting. Manipur is also a double engine, but yet to see some kind of, things are happening on the ground here. So activist thrust is giving some progress in the northeastern part of India, but Manipur is yet to receive that. Next, I just close, next. No, just before, yeah. So, what we see that it is a lookist to actist, but we are leaving actist now. We are going into Indo-Pacific. It is not being heavily discussed in this part. So move is towards the eastern, very rightly, and Manipur, Arunachal, where we get the sunrise first, in this country. Next. So what we see in the over time, the geography expanded, so there's opportunity for the Manipur. Next. Here comes, the crisis. I'm ready to jump, my border, but the crisis, which is actually, which have been affecting everybody, not just the nationals of the Manipur or Northeast. I have no point of going all in point by point. The President Trump tariff, it is a threat for our trade and integration, etc. There are many crises happening, supply chain breakdown, war here and there. So globally, very uncertain page, And next, please. On the point of disruption supply chain, your pineapples or the presentations is going to face this kind of disruptions because of the supply chain issues, maritime wise. Huge. So what is the lessons coming out that instead of looking at the American market or market in the Europe for your products, processed foods, let's look at the eastern side, Southeast Asia. That makes sense, because they are your neighbor. So road has to be ready, if you'd like to do an exports with a competitive edge over others. If it is not, then the panelist which is here with me, the Myanmar professor, had there been a flight from Mandalay to here, KB Airlines once upon a time was discussing like that. He flew from there, Mandalay to Yangon, from Yangon to Delhi, Delhi to Guwahati, Delhi to Imphal, Imphal to here. So connectivity disruptions is actually setting the fit for state which is having its very strong strategic position globally. This is Manipur. I conclude. So what can be done for the Manipur is the 10 points I have said. One is that easing the burden on supply chain disruptions. Some of the exporters, they may not be knowing this. Here comes the MCCI, their role. They need to tell to their members that these are the options for you because of the supply chain disruption. There are ad valorem costs you are paying. So please take these routes or this kind of subsidy. Many of the states like Gujarat, because of supply chain disruption, Gujarat state is giving them subsidies, additional subsidy. I'm not going in detail. Second point is opportunities coming from rising US tariff. US tariff is imposed on India except 3 items: pharmaceuticals, mobile phone, and one more I forgot. Rest of the time is a 50% average tariff. But those you are not getting, products of Manipur are not getting suffered. They are from shrimp, textile products from other parts of India. So you benefits from there where you move out to regional market like ASEAN plus others. So this is an opportunity. Bangladesh, for example, if Bangladesh government allows import, because they have also port restriction, India has also introduced port restrictions. Not so easy. Point number 3 is trade and investment linkages. If you look at a regional integration with Southeast Asia and beyond, your trade investment linkages have to be there. You cannot just say, international trade is the Schedule 1 of the constitutions. It is. But there are leeways for the states to strengthen their trade investment linkages with the Southeast Asia. Look at how many trips the chief minister and the chief secretary, industry minister from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, even Delhi, they trip in abroad. Just count them and get some research scholar to do it, the study. And how many times your people went to Myanmar or Southeast Asia? You can, or even Bangladesh, So you have some role, additional role instead of depending on government of India. Plus the border economic zone, presently border is closed for you because of some reasons. So this means I talk about with the Bangladesh, particularly with Meghalaya or with Tripura. But you also have a role, when you have, plus promoting cross-border energy linkages. 3 megawatts, you give it to Tamu town. So can our grid be expanded? And energy exchange, will make lots of difference in the state, by the way. Plus, point number 7 is we have to look at, border as a prosperity zone. This have to be introduced to the textbook who are coming from, class 1 to, there. But I need to understand, is it there in the textbook of the class 1 standard to class 10 standard? Telling them students that this is the border for you, this is the way to the prosperity, telling them the history. Point number 8 is passionately engage in activist policy, as the way Assam is doing, So what is the passion here? One can check, do you have an activist department in the state government? Is the Manipur Chamber of Commerce and Industry, they have an activist cell? Is the Manipur University, they have a think tank or something like, So passionately engaging with an activist, that's important. Point number 9 is the institutions and for integration. How many times you want me to come to Delhi? I want to listen the local students, local scholar, like Professor Nani to speak, give their narratives, and I listen in Delhi. So you need an institutions that will nurture the minds, For last point is engaging with Japan, Korea, Thailand, Singapore as an investment, partners. This relationship building is required by chambers of commerce, investors, who are here, who can do the business. Dr. Palin is here, he knows it, So relation, investments, decision is very important. And I close, is there anything else? No, just previous slide. I have also identified, I've given a big list in, but I have identified action plan. Action plan 1 to 5 is that you need to come out with a strategic plan for Manipur's exports and integration. MCCI, Manipur University, someone from Delhi together can come a strategic plan. It doesn't need any investment. 10 pages with 20 points strategic plan. Point number 2 is your industry association need to be activated. I was talking to the secretary yesterday. You do this summit in other parts of the country, and other parts of Southeast Asia. That is important. Point number 3, the global business summit is very often is required. Point number 4, action plan is resume the border trade. It is not possible because of the current situation. Government of India's, they have to take it up, without which you cannot start that trilateral way and you cannot link engaging what the plan I have discussed. Point number 5, this is something very much possible. The governor, chief secretary, additional chief secretary, they need to introduce a letter to our external affairs minister that we want to organize first ASEAN-India Aromatic Plants Festival. ASEAN-India Millet Festival, because the millet is the popular product some parts of India, and this is happening regularly. You have an age on traditional medicine. So I propose in action that please take it up to Delhi. We want to organize, and they will fund, the government of India will fund it. So 5 action points to re-energize your linkages. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabir. Now, this, should we say, key paper tells us a lot, and I would advise the organizers to keep this PowerPoint with you, hand it over to the organizers, and the full paper of Prabir's will appear in our souvenir, which you'll get tomorrow. But 3-4 critical points that Prabir has put before all of us, on which I would love to have 1 or 2 questions, is simply, India's Act-East policy has failed for the Northeast, but even these value chains for India into Southeast Asia is just starting to happen. But now, in a situation of these global threat patterns and all that, Northeastern region has a shorter supply chain advantage. This is critical. So, supplier diversification. Southeast Asia would want these shorter chains, value chains, going into South Asia, and then our Northeast into Southeast Asia, and so on and so forth. Then the other one is, does the Northeastern region, or Manipur, for which India government has done so much, does it have an export strategy? This is for all of us, including our honorable MLA over here from Arunachal Pradesh, to think, and our Chamber of Commerce. We have been pleading this for over 10-20 years. We must have a strategy, we must have a policy. We don't have Northeastern. And more so Manipur, which is actually linked for so many years since the beginning of India's border trade, 1995. Nothing is happening, but huge amount of informal trade is happening. So that is one, export strategy for the Northeast and for Manipur in particular. Then others are, of these 10 critical points that Prabir has put, I'm just pointing out these critical points. Then the Northeastern region should not be only passive receivers of the gains from India's Act-East policy. It must also be active in contributing to the growth itself. So how much has states of the Northeastern region or Manipur contributed in a positive manner to India government's move for value chains and economic integration with Southeast Asia? So these are very, very vital issues Prabir has raised. Lastly, and much more important, is, does the Northeast India and its states, or Manipur more so, have a think tank? We don't. Imagine Assam, which does not trade at all with Southeast Asia, has for the last 2-3 years a separate department for Act-East policy, What Assam is doing is essentially trading with Bangladesh, but it's not effectively trading with Southeast Asia. Manipur does, Mizoram does. Assam is preparing. So the theme of our this plenary session is preparing the Northeast for value chains or opportunities on the trilateral highway. Then a very more practical thing which Pravir advises us is Assam has taken advantage of Japan-India Act-East Policy Forum. How much have we gained from that? Why was it that a very possible and practical Japanese project on sericulture, a close-ended one, from the very beginning to the end of selling internationally? It had tried, but it failed. Why? What are the lessons from there? So not only that, you will have more propositions from Myanmar side. So ladies and gentlemen, these are PowerPoint suggestions which has now come to this Northeastern Forum, which we need to go back and tell our government. And so this opening key paper, thank you Pravir for an excellent presentation. Let's give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Next, I would invite our young friend, Noni Arambam, to say something about his topic is on the geopolitics.
Good afternoon.
The India-Myanmar borderlands, volatile frontiers in geopolitical transition. This will appear in the souvenir.
Good afternoon.
Minutes,
yes. Good afternoon. With the permission of the Mr. Chair and my greetings to the respected co-panelists, experts, and learned participants. It is easier for me now because Professor Day has spoken so much about the issues and challenges where we can work on. My role would be like talking about, as he rightly says, that you cannot escape geography, because geography is a destiny that probably we cannot escape. In that framework, I think India's Northeast region is significant historically, and it has been historically very vibrant, because even before the coming of the colonial power, there were interfaces in terms of culture, in terms of economy, and in terms of politics. I would say that there were important markers even before the colonial power had come to this region in terms of our, what we call today, geopolitics. Having said this, I also have the view that the valleys in the northeastern region, you call it the Manipur Valley or the Ahomias, or Tripura for that matter, these valleys were very fertile for these interfaces in terms of politics, in terms of culture, in terms of economics. I think we carry that tradition even today, having entered into what we call today the Westphalian state model. I think increasingly we are getting into the state and the institutions as a participant, whereby we're trying to look into the possibility of deepening democratic institutions where we can grow in a distributive manner. I have a feeling that democratic deepening of the institutions will be very important, as the first speaker also talked about. Given the situation like the ones that we have in Manipur or across the border in Myanmar, of course in the last 2.5 years or 3 years' time, I think there is a disruption to what we were doing in terms of trade, businesses, and commercial activities in the region. We know that there is a huge potential in the region, because the region is very virgin in terms of its resources. Its biodiversity is very rich. It has a lot of potential, and we have seen the potential. The only issue is that do we have the enough institutions do we have the enough institutions to resolve the tensions that we have around? Have we created institutions, or have we created a political environment where we can resolve the differences? I think these are big bottlenecks coming into our way in actually inducing what we call international trade. With the coming of the colonialism or the European power, we were exposed to global capital, and the markets were improvised. We have even had a monetized economy that resulted in more aggressive international trade. We also had treaty relations with the coming of the European power. More or less politically and economically, our relationships were improvised, particularly in the context of Southeast Asia. And Manipur stands out to be very, very distinctively important because it is the only viable, I think, as of today, only viable surface connection to the entire Southeast Asian region. I am of the view that we have had in the history also significant processes, significant policies of connecting to these regional markets. After having seen an extensive success in the project that we call the Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal Connectivity Project, IMTT, that is India, Myanmar, Thailand Trilateral Highway Project, stands out to be very critical. I would say that the opportunity that we have is rooted in two aspects. One is there is a significance of connecting the region, and it also has a condition or has a situation of criticality, because when I say significant, I say that geographically we are very much in a condition where we can actually grow in terms of connecting with the neighborhoods. But at the same time, this connection with the region, with the markets around, will not be easy because there are critical issues that we have to creatively resolve. Therefore, I normally argue that there is one aspect is the significance, the other aspect is the criticality of that significance, because there are several bottlenecks in terms of deepening political institutions or in terms of settling the political turmoil that you have. I can talk about these, but I probably feel not good to talk too much about the political instability in the region. I would simply give a framework that political stability is going to be very critical and important in ensuring that we economically grow in a very proper way. If I take the cue from one very important famous economist, Amartya Sen used to say that economy and politics are distinctively different, but at the same time, these are intertwined. In that formative idea, I think our economic prosperity, our economic agility will come when we have these basic understanding of connecting the two dots. That is what I want to do in my presentation here today. As our chair was talking about the significance of geopolitical aspect, there are many regional experts or area experts we call, who have been saying that the geopolitical scramble which was there in the upper Himalayas are now shifting towards Indo-Myanmar region. And that sounds very important for us. It looks like Manipur, Myanmar, or India-Myanmar borderlands are now becoming very sensitive. As the keynote speaker was talking about how the Sagaing division and many of these areas are now in a very fragile situation where the projects cannot prosper. In that way, I can sense that there is an increasing involvement of foreign powers, where the regional economic activities are also not really going in sync with what we were expecting. Therefore, I have a feeling and I have an understanding that our foreign policies, as far as economy is concerned, our foreign policies are to be also synchronized with the political questions that we have around. So therefore, it has to be a two-way kind of a project. One, the economic engagement of the region, and also the political engagement of the countries around, where we try to preempt or mitigate the over-excessive essentialization of securitizing the region. That is really hampering, I think, a democratic growth of institutions. These are very, very important challenges which makes the region a volatile frontier. And in the words of Bertin Littner, he goes on to say that the region probably might become a forbidden area. Now, what I'm trying to do is that the region has become very, very sensitive geopolitically in the recent years or decades. The Malacca Strait, for instance, the Pacific Ocean, for instance, the Bay of Bengal, for instance, these have become a very important sites of geopolitical theater. Now, in this environment, or in this ambience of geopolitical scrambles amongst the powers in the region, how do we prosper with this desire to grow? This desire to get into what you call modern developmental processes. I think the countries will have to democratize their approaches towards regional, political, and economic engagement. That will be very, very essential in terms of settling the political questions and instability in the region. I also want to say that there are three important issues that we need to begin to talk about. First, the question of integrating local economy and talents with the regional economy. That's number one question, how to do that. The second question is the issue of sustainable developmental. That needs to be sensitive to regions' fragile biodiversity. And the third issue that we need to talk about is the deepening of democratic institutions that can insulate or that can protect regions' cultural and distributive economic concerns. These are three broad frameworks, I think, that should be essentially improvised in our discourses on look-east policy or economic integration of the region. In addition to this, we all know that the region, Manipur state particularly, is mired in so many conflict situations. Now, I think the governments or the government will have to have a policy to engage with these critical political questions, without which probably it will be very difficult for us to engage with region's economic question of economic integration. And I'm also of the view that, as we all know, that the region is facing, or the Manipur state is facing, a very severe crisis of inflation. I want to quote a report of World Bank 2023, which says that compared to West Bengal, the prices of goods in Northeast are up to 60% higher in rural areas and 30% in urban locations due to poor road infrastructure and developmental stagnancy. So you can see, a bag of cement which costs about 350 rupees will probably come to about 500 rupees when it reaches the Manipur state. So there is a serious crisis of road infrastructure and at the same time stagnancy of our institutions. These are some very, very ground level questions that we live with. Probably this is also part of what we call the destiny of geography, but I think we have come beyond this traditional understanding of the fact that we were traditionally and historically, enabled or unabled in terms of our landlockedness. But I think this landlockedness idea is being debunked sufficiently, and we are almost now exposed to global capital and global developmental policies and programs. Towards the end, I would like to come with some suggestions to you. We need to also talk about the mechanisms that the state governments or the state should have a policy to deal with the transborder ethnic aspirations that is growing up. For instance, if you talk about FMR, for instance, there is a huge critic coming to FMR policy. Now, how to deal with this critical assessments coming from the community when you talk about redrawing of FMR policy, for instance. Now, the question I see is that there are serious critical issues which the communities are raising in the border states, particularly in the Indo-Myanmar region, whereby some communities still feel that they are not being properly identified within a particular state system. Now, this is a very critical situation where the states in the modern times today will have to have a policy to deal with transborder ethnic aspirations. And I think we have no discourses, we have no policy to deal with these kind of aspirations, which is transborder. Now, in that situation, how to prosper with what we today call integration of economies. On the one side, the border of the states are very hardened. On the other side, the border of the states are also very malleable, flexible. Now, communities have got different aspirations, different ideas about borderland or borders, for instance. So I think a state, the Westphalian state that we call today, or the modern state we call today, should have to begin to think about how policies, creating new policies, innovative institutions to deal with these aspirations, because these aspirations are also creating conflicts in the borderland we call India-Myanmar region. That's one of the texts that I have. The other issue that I want to talk about, taking cue from our previous speaker, is that the structural adjustment program that we have been talking about should be designed in such a way that the regional political questions be properly taken into account. I also have a feeling and understanding that the low export that we witness today in the region, which the previous speaker talked about, negative export, is a very, very critical point, because without creation of enough industrial or manufacturing institutions or infrastructure, and the possibility of integration with the regional economy will be very, very challenging, because you probably will have not much to export or integrate in very substantive way to the regional economies. The local community or the state, people in the state like Manipur feel insecure that once they're exposed to the global market, they probably will have nothing to export, nothing to contribute, except their labor. Now, in that situation, probably you can give an assurance to the community if you create institutions or industrial or manufacturing, infrastructure where they can actually begin to think about production, not merely live as a consumer, but also begin to live as an exporter or a manufacturer. That's very essential, I think. So these part of becoming a manufacturer or an exporter of commodities or ideas could probably be very important for our people to have faith and desire to be integrated to this regional market aspiration. Towards the end of my presentation, I would remind you that Ambedkar used to say that political democracy cannot be achieved without social democracy. In similar framework, I would like to put forth to the audience, to the House, that it is important for us to have political institutional deepening in conjunction with our economic aspirations to be in the regional loop. And finally, my concluding remark would be that to repeat, in fact, what I have said, there is a need for serious rethinking on creating stability in the region, ensuring law and order. That should accompany with a substantive creation of institutions of manufacturing, institutions of education, and institutions of infrastructure, which will enable people to finally participate as not as a consumer, but also as a manufacturer, and manufacturer of not only goods and things, but also creator of ideas. With these words, I really thank the organizers for this opportunity. Probably in future too, we will try to engage more with these questions. I'm not an economist, but I can say and I can contribute in terms of understanding how the states, how the institutions, how the center-state relationship can be improved, and where the states can feel more secure, more participatory in terms of contributing in the whole process of what we call economic integration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nani. Exactly on time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a second this panelist's view. The second view gives us the political framework within which we have to work. I would call it the political, ethno-political framework that he has put, which stands in some conjunction, but also some contradiction with what Professor Prabir had done, the vital managerial material economic framework on the trilateral highway or regional district. So we have two frameworks, very clear frameworks. Now, there are contradictions also, but Noni's presentation is, say, have we crumbled politically? Do we have democracies? What are the insurgencies and instability in law and order in Bangladesh, in Manipur, or in Myanmar? What are the implications for democratic institutions? And if democratic institutions are not allowed or to function, then our dreams on the trilateral highway is not going to go forward, because any meaningful conversations or dialogues or engagement in Southeast Asia, South Asia will never be complete if we do not indulge in democratic engagements with democratic frameworks. That is true, but Noni has put many human elements of development and trade. For example, are we going to ignore our environment, just as Myanmar has done, with grave consequences to its future productive base? Look at the forests in Myanmar. Look at the minerals being exploited by a big power over there. Everybody is scavenging on the resources of Myanmar. What do we think of that? Are we also going to scavenge in our geopolitical fights of the powers in Myanmar? Are we going to scavenge on the human dignity and the human existence itself? In other words, as Noni puts it, do we have any borderland issues? Are we going to simply fence up the borders and then at the same time push for trade? These are dilemmas. But I think Noni himself was in a trap. That's why he was contradictory in one point. Noni said that no more, landlocked Manipur. There's no more landlocked, nor is the northeastern region. International dynamics, development has opened up everything. So do we have, that negative fear psychosis that not Assam, it was opened up by the colonial legacy to the entire world, trade and all that. But the mountainous regions of northeastern region, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, we all have that fear psychosis that if we open up our economies to border trade, are we prepared? You see, there was a time when trains coming into Nagaland or in Manipur was objected by environmentalists and all that. So we are opening up, we need to open up, but at the same time, do we need to protect our identities, our cultures and all that? That is the contradiction from which seemingly Noni has not been equal to escape. But what is India government's policy? India government has clearly said, it has been repeated in February in Assam by Jay Shankar, that we shall balance India first, with our neighborhood first, with ASEAN, and even with the Indo-Pacific. We will always put the interests of our farmers, of our MSMEs. We cannot allow the MSMEs to be drowned by, goods export from highly efficient Southeast Asian manufacturing. But we cannot at the same time, giving subsidies and all this to our MSMEs. We will find the balance. That is India's policy, and I see not much contradictions in what is happening in the geopolitics in our region. Thank you, Noni. You have opened our eyes, and I would want you to ask incisive questions why you feel that we must address our geopolitical and human issues on the borderlands. Next, may I invite Kin Muang So. He will be talking on the India-Myanmar borderlands, volatile frontiers in geopolitical transition. Kin Muang knows Myanmar, knows Manipur, northeastern region thoroughly. We have interacted with him for so many decades. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Kin Muang So, who will go in a practical way into Noni's framework of political economy and Professor Dey's framework of trade-led value chain development on the trilateral highway. Please, 15 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Hey Siri, set a timer for 13 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am very delighted to see old friends who have supported me in all my effort to link Myanmar and Manipur. Change is constant and inevitable. It is an honor and pleasure for me to join this important gathering. I'm going to talk about this India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway, strategic vision, mission, and action plan for success. This summit came at a pivotal point as global power dynamics shift and uncertainty loom. The theme of this gathering, preparing Northeast India for opportunity along the trilateral highway, could not be more timely. The government of India rightly emphasizes this initiative potential to advance regional peace, prosperity, and progress. While Asia is the continent of the 21st century, it also faces unprecedented challenges. I was wondering personally because the Asian century concept was first coined by German strategist Karl Haushofer in 1924. This year is 2025. A quarter of century has already passed, but Asian century still remain uncertain. U Thant of Myanmar, the third Secretary General of United Nations, he said, and I quote, "The world will not change and find peace if there is not a new education. System, government, ideology come and go, but human remain forever." These words carry profound weight from leaders who helped avert nuclear catastrophe during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. His legacy reminds us people-to-people ties are the bedrock state-to-state relation. Humbly, with this concept, I try professor many years ago. True diplomacy, rooted in shared humanity, not just real politics, is what ultimately preserves peace. Today, gathering of policymakers, academics, stakeholders represent a critical step toward reimagining education and collaboration. Education is all about asking good questions. The education and collaboration in ways that bridge divides and unlock the trilateral highway full potential. This ambitious corridor is more than just a physical road linking three nations. It embodies a strategic vision to transform regional connectivity and economic integration across Southeast Asia. Today's presentation is based on my paper. I already forwarded to the organizer for published as a souvenir. Let me take you on a journey along this highway of opportunity and explore how it could refine the economic landscape of the entire region. Next slide, please. There are many facts I won't elaborate because my previous speaker already elaborated many data. Imagine reducing a journey that currently takes weeks by sea to just a few days by land. This is precisely what the India-Myanmar Trilateral Highway aims to accomplish. This 1,360-kilometer corridor connects More in Manipur, India through Myanmar, and extend to Mae Sot That province in Thailand. Born from the Mekong Ganga Cooperation Initiative in 2002 and later integrated with ASEAN Connectivity Plan, the TLH represents a physical manifestation of regional cooperation. What made this project truly transformative is its potential to convert Northeast India from a peripheral region into a vibrant gateway to ASEAN. This isn't just about building roads, it is about building bridges between economy, culture, and community. Now, let's examine how this aligns with India's broader strategic vision. Before I came here, I joined one event. The Indian ambassador in Yangon elaborated on three policy issues that Myanmar relate with India. He mentioned edit policy and Indo-Pacific policy and neighborhood priority. This gave me a lot of thought-provoking things. Next slide, please. TLH serves as a cornerstone of India at East policy, which represents a strategic pivot from merely looking east to actively acting east. In February 2025, at the Adventure ASEAN 2.0 Summit, India External Affairs Minister didn't mimic word when he called the TLH a game changer for Northeast India connectivity to ASEAN. Despite being 70% complete and facing challenges due to Myanmar political situation, the highway potential to revolutionize trade, business, health, education, and tourism tide remain undeniable. If you look at the right side of my slide, you will notice three pillars that form the foundation of India at East policy: culture, connectivity, and commerce. The TLH elegantly weave these pillars together, strengthening cultural ties through people-to-people contact, establishing physical connectivity through infrastructure, and facilitating commerce through enhanced trade routes. But what exactly is the economic potential we are talking about? Let's dive into the numbers. Next slide, please. The economic implication of the TLH are nothing short of remarkable. We are looking at unlocking USD 10 to 15 billion in annual trade potential, a figure that underscores the magnitude of this project. Consider these key benefits. The highway will integrate Northeast India with ASEAN market, concurrently valued at USD 125 billion in bilateral trade. By shortening route, logistic costs could drop by 20 to 30%, a significant advantage in today's competitive global market. Perhaps most impressively, Northeast India contribution to the national GDP could jump from 3 to 5 to 7% by 2030, creating a ripple effect of economic growth throughout the region. The Economic Institute of ASEAN and East Asia has published detail about this growth rate. And let's not forget the asset to the 650 million consumer across ASEAN, a market that any business would be eager to tap into. The infographics on the right illustrate ASEAN growing economic importance in the Indo-Pacific region. This isn't about connecting road, it is about connecting to one of most dynamic economic regions in the world. However, as with any ambitious project, the TLH faces its share of challenges. Let's take a look at where we stand today. Next slide, please. As of September 2025, the TLH stands at approximately 70% completion. The progress bar you see reflects this current status. On the positive side, India's section from Moreh to Imphal are fully operational, and Thailand has upgraded its Mae-Sao That segment to 4-lane. India has made significant investment in Myanmar portion, including 120.74 kilometer Kaliwa-Yaji Road section and renovating 69 projects along the Tamu-Chigong-Kaliwa route, a USD 484 million commitment that demonstrated Indian dedication to the project. However, we must acknowledge the substantial challenges. Myanmar's ongoing civil unrest since 2021 has brought construction to a standstill, creating security risks and displacing workers. Closer to home, ethnic tension in Manipur also have disrupted cross-border trade in Moreh. These challenges have pushed trade into informal channel, highlighting the urgent need for stabilized governance to move this project forward. Despite this obstacle, one state stands to benefit enormously from the TLH. Let's focus on Manipur potential transformation. Next slide, please. Manipur 398-kilometer border with Myanmar position it perfectly an India gateway to Saudi Asia. The TLH begin at the Moreh-Tamu border, creating a unique opportunity for this state to leverage its distinctive assets. From its diverse biodiversity, including specialty crops like black rice and turmeric, to its rich tradition of handcraft and textile, Manipur has much to offer. The state also holds significant potential for medical and pilgrimage tourism, particularly when new route to destination like Bodh Gaya. This bar chart illustrates the projected increase in Northeast India contribution to national GDP from 3% currently to between 5 to 7% by 2030. This isn't just incremental growth. It is a transformative leap that could redefine the economic identity of the region. By integrating into ASEAN supply chain, the accessing market of 650 million consumers through eastward extension to Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, Manipur could evolve from a peripheral state to a vibrant economic hub. To achieve this vision, what strategic initiatives are essential? Let's examine what is being done. Next slide, please. Overcoming the challenges we discussed earlier require concerted efforts in both infrastructure development and trade facilitation. On the infrastructure front, India funding of critical Myanmar segment, the Kaliwa, Yaji, and 69 bridges aim for completion by 2027. Enabling seamless four-lane connectivity throughout the corridor. Complementary projects like Kaladan Multimodal Transit Transport Project provide alternative asset route, creating a more resilient network. Trade facilitation efforts are equally important. The BIMSTEC Trade Facilitation Strategic Framework 2030 promote paperless trade and harmonized standards. India updated FTA with ASEAN countries have increased utilization rate for agro products and electronics. The India-Myanmar border trade agreement facilitates digital payment and reduce non-tariff barrier, potentially boosting bilateral trade by 20 to 30%. The image on the right shows regional infrastructure development in progress, representing USD 484 million commitment India has made to transform this vision into reality. Now, let's focus especially on bilateral cooperation between India and Myanmar, which is crucial for TLA's success. Next slide, please. The India-Myanmar relationship formed the backdrop of TLA's project, with several promising areas for cooperation. Joint venture is in agro-processing stand out as a particularly promising opportunity, leveraging Manipur fertile lands and Myanmar agricultural reality. That 2025 Mantra Agri Solution joint venture between Hardy Ren and SK Group for potato processing exemplifying the potential for crop border value change. Alternative route via the Kaladan project offer a strategic backup plan set to be fully operational by 2027. This multimodal connectivity from Kolkata to Sitwe by sea, then from Palawa to Surinpur by river and road, reduce Northeast India distance to port by 700 kilometers. This USD 484 million initiative enhance resilience amidst Myanmar unrest and facilitate export of agricultural products. India has invested substantially in this relationship, with lines of credit with USD 2 billion funding infrastructure in Myanmar, including TLX segment. Bilateral trade reached USD 1.8 billion in 2024-2025 fiscal year, dominated by automobile parts, pharmaceutical, and machinery export from India. With these foundations in place, what specific action can accelerate the TLA's development? Let's explore some pragmatic recommendations. Next slide, please.
Please finish within 1 minute. Can you, please?
Okay, yeah. This is a recommendation because of the time, but I set my time to 30 minutes. It hasn't landed me yet. I have to finish within 2 minutes. Okay. This is a 5 recommendation. Because of time limit, I won't elaborate on all these recommendations, but people-to-people relation is a very important point. As I mentioned, this is sustainable, the government-to-government relation. Next slide, please. This is my conclusion, the vision and mission. Also, 2017, I was invited by the Observer Research Foundation in Mumbai to discuss the China-India engagement in BRI and EDI policy before the Chinese President Xi Jinping organized the first BRF forum in Beijing. And I made a conclusion with this Japanese proverb. This inspired me a lot. Vision without action is a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare. With this proverb, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Kin Maung. This is a revelation of a reality on the Myanmar side and on the Thailand side, indirectly. Now, Kin Maung has talked about regional integration and, More Tamu, Manipur being the gateway to ASEAN and all that. And he has said in data terms that if the trilateral highway is really functioning, there is every possibility of reducing transaction costs on the trilateral highway by 20 to 30%. The advantages of land trade. He has emphasized on it. He has emphasized on supply chains on the trilateral highway, which could make Manipur not a peripheral region, but in fact a core state on the trilateral highway. Now, he has emphasized on trade facilitation measures, which BIMSTEC is trying to do, but it has still failed. Indo-Myanmar also, we have not been able to facilitate trade on our borders, to the extent that it will give birth to formal trade. There's zero formal trade in Mizoram, zero formal trade almost before the crisis over here. Formalization of trade is necessary. And then he has also touched on a wider aspect of the trilateral highway, which has gone beyond Act East policy into the Indo-Pacific. Professor Day he was formerly in charge of the India-ASEAN section. He's now in charge of, I believe, on the Indo-Pacific, Japan, Korea, and Quad and all that. Let Northeastern region and Manipur realize that the steps that India is further away, we are not even aware of that. We must be aware of that national policy also. But the most important thing is vision without action will not do anything. So that is where he indirectly brought the developments on the More-Tamu border crossing, what are the facilities there on their side and on Manipur side? What about the other vital link, Mayawadi and on TAC? Have we ever thought of comparing them and ask ourselves, why do we not have the threat facilitation measures on our side? I have seen the development map of Sagyang, of Tamu, whereby economic zones for northeastern region, for Asians are on the way. You have, most of you must have gone to Tamu and look at the way it is being developed as a tourist center and as a trading center. What is happening on our Manipur side? The government needs to think that, we need to ponder over that. And if you go to Mayawadi, you will see that it has got a beautiful development, and it's much more better on the TAC side. See that? Hundreds of trucks are lining up every day to cross the border into Mayawadi. That is the type of trade that is taking place over there. Industrial zones are there. In fact, TAC has developed to such an extent that the digital scam from Yunnan and Muse and this place has moved over to this region now. Muse region trade is almost zero now. See that? And on from the TAC side of Thailand, you will see in the morning thousands of Burmese labor going to industrial hubs in Thailand, in TAC, on boats crossing the river. And you will see from Mayawadi casinos, on the river sides. That is the level of development at that critical end on the Myanmar border with Thailand. They are prepared, 4-lane, the bridges are there. You can even see the cars that are coming into Rangoon or anywhere in Burma, I believe, when I last visited it, were mostly at that time second-hand Japanese and Korean cars, which were being ferried on rafts across the river. I could see it. And the policeman told me, sir, these are all, the vehicles that are going informally. So, Thailand is prepared, Myanmar is prepared on these two critical things, but are we prepared at More or in Mizoram? Okay? These are issues that our governments and our trade establishment and industrialists need to look into. Thank you, Khin Maung, thank you. Our next presenter will be, yes, Dr. Palin. No need to, introduce him. Dr. Palin, he has had, please sir, he is an actual, trader in healthcare services. He has experiences in Myanmar, and he had plans also, but he has not been able to push it through. Let us listen to him and try to make sense of what are the possibilities of services like education, healthcare, and tourism. These were what Khin Maung had pointed out, that the Minister of External Affairs, Jay Shankar, in the February summit in Assam had pointed out health, education, and tourism. He has not mentioned of manufacturing, because India wants manufacturing to stay for some time until we get a perfect connectivity right up to Vietnam. But service is another matter, good trade in goods and manufacture is another matter, but I think the road is much more clearer in the health and education sector. So Dr. Palin, kindly continue.
Thank you, respected chairpersons, my dear co-panelists, all the delegates and the dignitaries. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity to present CISA Mission Myanmar, a global healthcare diplomacy, especially for Myanmar and beyond. Next slide, please. The use of health-related issue to improve health and relations among nations. This is diplomacy, healthcare diplomacy, and this is a part of the, especially the critical part of the foreign policy. Mission Myanmar was a significant healthcare diplomacy initiated by CISA hospitals to provide specialized medical services and training of neighboring Myanmar. The mission would augment the speed of India's Act East policy. Next, please. This is already elaborated. The power comes from the consciousness of the power within. The geography, we cannot avoid geography, already mentioned, and this is the advantage for Manipur also. Next. Myanmar already, we know everything about Myanmar, so I will not elaborate about Myanmar. Next. And second is the neighboring state, and this is the area we have explored, and there is a good connectivity with Manipur, especially on the surface. Next, please. The patients from Thailand, Singapore, India, Myanmar patients are traveling to Singapore, Bangkok, and India, and especially for Bangkok and Singapore, it is costlier. Compared to Manipur, it is 6 to 10 times costlier. Manipur is surface connected and officially opened on 8th of August 2018. Unfortunately, from 2020, because of the corona, the border was sealed, and subsequently nothing could be done, and it was followed by socio-political unrest. Next, please. Yes, India and Myanmar, especially Manipur and Myanmar, we have a historical relationship, and we have all the advantages. We have 4 medical colleges, nursing institutes, paramedical institutes, Trans-Asia Highway number 1 and 2 passing through Manipur, International Airport and railheads coming up. And India's Look East policy, Act East policy, meeting point of superpower countries like China, India and Southeast Asia, a war tourism destination in Manipur in English speaking. These are some of the advantages or strength of Manipur. Next. We were invited by Indian Consul General. We have applied for this Monday in early part of 2013 for corrective surgery for cleft lip and palate. This is the picture of the cleft lip and palate. In fact, the baby was left in the train because she was a lady and also cleft lip and palate. The parents did not like her, and one brave lady of Manipur took her up and brought here, and we have operated. Now she has cleared class 12. Anyway, they cannot eat properly, they cannot speak properly, they cannot go to the school unless they are repaired. The mission also coincided with the Indo-Myanmar business summit organized by Indian Chamber of Commerce. The location was the same. It was in Moniwa only. Next. Cleft lip and palate, I will not elaborate. We have done altogether 339 cleft lip and palate repair, cataract surgery, and keyhole surgery. And thousands are waiting, particularly in cleft lip and palate and cataract blindness. And also we have done capacity building and training. 6 nurses and 2 doctors, surgeons, we have trained for 2 months free of cost for keyhole surgery and critical care under CISA, overseas training program. And we have conducted a free medical camp also at Calais in collaboration with this Rotary Club of Imphal. Next. This is about to start next. the governor of Manipur flag off our team. Next. Unfortunately, that day there was heavy rain and there was no road. And we have seen the security personnel helping us, and we had to take about double the time, 24 hours to reach Mongia from Mori. Next, after reaching the hospital, Moria General Hospital, we were accepted. We had a similar physical structure and emotionally very much connected, and this is the trust they have given to us. Next. And in between, they help us. Next. We met the superintendent of General Hospital and brief about it, and hundreds of them were waiting for us. Next. Next. The Honorable Chief Minister of Sagaing, the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur, those days, Honorable Minister, ex-Minister, Chief Minister Oja Ibobi, they visited us during the camp and encouraged us. Next. This is the keyhole surgery, Mission Myanmar. Next. We could not return. I'm talking about the first camp, this one. We could not return on the same route because of the mud, and there was no road. So we had to return in the Sindhuin River. This was an opportunity for us also. We could see Sindhuin River, vastness of the river and the power of the Sindhuin River we could see. We enjoyed every moment of the trip. Next. After that, the Honorable Chief Minister of Mandalay, Sagaing, and Chin visited us. Even the ambassador and Indian Consul General all visited Manipur during Shanghai Festival, and also visited Caesar Hospital and interacted with the Myanmar patients who were undergoing treatment at Caesar. Next. And in 2018 also we traveled along with the government officials for friendly football match, women football match, India, Sagaing and Mandalay. Next. It was in fact Manipur. We met the Honorable Chief Minister of Sagaing also. He briefed about the healthcare condition of the region. They had only 7 ophthalmologists and 3 can operate. Only 3 can operate for cataract. So there are so many needless blindness, and they were suggesting about helping them to eradicate the needless blindness of the people of Sagaing. After that, Manipur was known previously, before this Mission Myanmar, Manipur was known in a different direction. After our these camps, multiple camps, it came the national news, and also they come to know about Manipur, and Manipur was known for healthcare also. They started pouring in before the official opening, and after opening also we received a lot of patients with a visa on arrival. We have treated more than 5,000. This is probably the highest foreign patients to be treated in northern India. And we have done the 2 kidney transplant, both of them from Mandalay. They had to come from Yangon to Calcutta, Calcutta to Imphal. Such a long route because of the sickness they could not come on the surface. And this joint replacement, brain tumors, mostly stone treatment. As already mentioned, cost is much cheaper, and it was goodwill between India and Myanmar. Next. Next. Regarding particularly for the delegates from outside, Caesar Hospital is a super specialty hospital with a private medical college. It is NABS and NABL accredited. This is for the quality assurance and we have 1,700, more than 1,700 caregivers and 40 years of healing. Next. We have all the facilities. Patients are going for medical tourism, like kidney transplant, liver transplant, infertility, cardiac care, joint replacement, interventional radiology, spine surgery, cosmetic surgery, dental care, eye care, cancer reconstruction, and pain management. These are some of the. And also we have 9 Center of Excellence. Next. We have set Guinness World Record also for excising the largest neck tumor in the world, 40% of the total body weight. Next. This is the tumor. Next. Next. We claim, and ultimately it was recorded, and still it is the record. Next. We have reimplanted 8 totally amputated hands and finger. Next. So the impact of CISA Mission Myanmar, there is a heart-to-heart connection, people-to-people connection, as already mentioned, most important. Manipur known for healthcare, more than 5,000 patients from Myanmar treated, including 2 kidney transplant. Thousands are waiting, but they are unable to come. We have the footfall there, much cheaper than Thailand and Singapore. Next. And this is regarding some of the observation, 2 million population of Indian and Nepalese in Myanmar. Many Buddhists wanted to visit Buddha Gaya, as already mentioned. It can be channeled through Manipur. And there are hundreds of applicants those days, not now, only 7 eye specialists in Sagang. Land in the integrated check post was about to be allotted to us for eye hospital, but it was not. It didn't happen. Next. Training. We suggest for training of doctors, nurses, paramedics, CME program, cleft lip and palate. Still we can continue because it is under Smile Train New York. It is done free of cost. The cleft lip and palate and eye and all those laparoscopic surgery also all we have done free. And the only thing we suggest air connectivity, because if the surface connectivity is improved, this is the best transport, particularly for the sick patient and the poor patients. Next, to conclude, Manipur can be the medical value tourism destination of the world. It happened. Even the citizens of Thailand visited us for spine surgery. Unbelievable for us how it has happened, because once you have the quality service and also affordable, people will come. Before Mamangido, Manipur should provide affordable excellence in healthcare, and we can create goodwill between the 2 nations, rather beyond. Next. I always believe that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauties of their dreams. We have to dream beautiful, and we'll run for medical tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Exactly on time, 15 minutes. Thank you, Doctor. Mission Myanmar was a humanitarian journey, and the doctor once told me that he had plans of building a hospital in Maniwa or Mandalay, but the barrier was language. That is one thing. But the other barrier which Manipuris are facing in investing in Myanmar is that of repatriation of profits or capital. So unless these issues are solved, the value chains on the trilateral highway will become difficult. So these are issues that we have to thrash out. I'm sure Kin Mong, his government is discussing all these things. Value chains can happen only when, some amount of language, if Myanmar is learned English or otherwise and so on. Thank you, Doctor. Now, I will invite now our last panelist. S.M. Abdul Kalam Azad, General Secretary, India Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dhaka. Fifteen minutes, sir.
Learned moderator, respected panelists, dear audience, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. At the outset, I would like to convey my sincere thanks and gratitude to the Government of India, Government of Manipur, and the Manipur Chamber of Commerce and Industry in particular, for inviting us over here. We have been listening the discussions of the prudent panelists. We have learned a lot from their discussions. Now, our topic, today's topic is that how Myanmar, how Manipur can get herself prepared as soon as the India-Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highways is established or constructed. So we know that Manipur is a land of beauty. It is full of potentials. It has huge resources. And above all, it is the gateway of India's gateway to the east. So in terms of geographical proximity, the location of Manipur is very vital as far as business and other issues are concerned. So you know that Manipur is very much rich in agriculture and food processing, education and skill development, handloom and handicrafts are there. Information technology is also there, healthcare and wellness is there, infrastructure and real estates are there, tourism and hospitality sectors are also there, startups and innovations, which is almost talked about, are there. So now I shall try to link how Bangladesh and Myanmar can be benefited out of these highways and our port at Matarbari, deep sea port at Matarbari. How Bangladesh and Manipur can be benefited out of this establishment. I think that as soon as the Matarbari deep sea port is prepared, it is almost to be done, and the highway which has been talked about, India, Myanmar, Thailand highway. So how Manipur can get herself prepared to harvest the fruits of the highways. So the sectors Manipur have, in which Manipur is rich, they need to be well equipped so that they can harvest the fruits of the establishment, that is the highway and the Matarbari deep sea port. And business between Bangladesh and India has expanded a lot. We are friends over the years, and we are tested friends over the years. So more business will come up. Our main business is at the western part, at the western part of India, that is Kolkata and the west. But as far as the eastern part is concerned, our business is a bit low. So we are trying, from India Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we are trying to be in more engagement so that more business can come up. And we have attended a number of programs in Guwahati, Shillong, Agartala, and the discussions are almost same, how we can promote business between the two friendly countries. So in terms of business, road construction, infrastructure, customs facilities, and seamless transportation. Sometimes Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, weekend, the port is closed. So people suffer a lot. So we need electronic type of transshipment so that it can be done without going there. So from that point of view, I feel that Manipur and Northeast as a whole we have huge scope for joint venture activities, joint collaboration. Bangladesh always desires more Indian investment in Bangladesh. India has invested a lot in Bangladesh. We hope that this investment will continue in the days to come. Now we are going through an interim government. A regular government will come in soon, we hope. Then more business and more opportunities will be explored. So hoping all these issues in view, we hope that more business with Manipur and more business with the Northeast in particular will come up in the days to come. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Abul Kalam. It is the first time, in my experience, that Bangladesh has come down here, the Chamber of Commerce, and talking of cooperation with Manipur and even value chains. Ladies and gentlemen, I would want to remind Mr. Abul that already a lot of commodities from Bangladesh are selling in our markets, including plastic goods and all that. It's all a matter of turning it into a formal thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have now come to an end. Just a few more words before lunch we are waiting for. Our problem in the Northeast is that we are not producing tradable goods. We are not manufacturing efficiently. We are not able to compete in most of the commodities that is demanded in Southeast Asia. But on the other hand, there are a lot of Indian goods demanded in Myanmar. Myanmar demands everything Indian, but Southeast Asian, they have a better quality, better competitiveness. So our problem is to produce tradable goods, number one. We don't do that, we have to find a way out. That is why Jay Shankar said that we start with services first. We have the infrastructures ready. Assam is ready. Everything is ready, except the trilateral highway itself is not ready. And he said, we cannot make the trilateral highway a hurdle to such an important economic corridor. We'll do anything that we can. Insurgency or unrest in the Myanmar will not be allowed to be a hurdle on the trilateral highway turning into an economic corridor. This is India government's stance. The most important thing about India's position is that Jay Shankar himself said, we have to have a change of mind, a mindset, not only in northeastern India, not only in India's neighborhood, but in Delhi itself. Each one of us must have a mindset change. That is what he said. What does it mean? Let us act first within our countries before we act east. What have we done in Assam? What have we done in Manipur? Let us rethink. Let us act first in our country. Then let us act second or first in our neighborhood. That is the neighborhood policy. Unless we carry Bangladesh or even Pakistan, however belligerent it is, Nepal, Bhutan, every one of them, we have to link this up into an integrated, efficient, producing value chain, short value chains, as previously has. We have to first to take care of ourselves, our region. That is why we need BIMSTEC. That is why, only when we're prepared to compete manufacturing, sky is the limit. That is what he says. And about the neighborhood policies, which is something that Jay Shankar pleaded to Bangladesh, to Nepal, Bhutan, and every one of them is, let us talk of the progress, not of the problems. So much progress has been made. Imagine you know better, the amount of, in the Indo-Bangladesh, manufacturing chains, Assam, cement, so many things are taking place. Let us talk of the progress. Let us not be stuck with our problems. Let us find practical solutions to our problems. So in other words, let us look into ourselves before we venture further on the trilateral highway. India is doing everything possible for connectivities and all that. So ladies and gentlemen, I think it is high time we introspect and act within the country, within the region, within the state first. Let the state governments rise up to it. Is there in the northeastern region any forum that is directing the activist policy? No. Donor is not doing it. NEC is not doing it. Is Assam doing it? No. It has a department, but Assam, which India has, is foreseeing and strategically planning to be the hub of India's activist policy through the trilateral highway. It has not been able to lead. Assam is yet to lead, isn't it? If India has put in every thousands of crores into Assam for everything, then Assam owes it that it starts leading, number one. Number two, each of the states peripheral to Assam in the hill regions, each one of them have to wake up to the need for serious attention on the activist policy. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me one state in the Northeast whose governments, the political class, have been sufficiently serious to have a strategy and plan for the activist policy. No. What was the reason? Professor, until and unless insurgency and law and order comes to a stop, there is nothing doing, we can't do anything. No. Even Jay Shankar is saying, in spite of this war in ethnic problems in Myanmar, in spite of Ukraine is still, trading in all sorts of grains and everything. This is what Jay Shankar meant. We need a change in mindsets, including Delhi. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. With this, I bring this first plenary session to an end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion of the first plenary session of the Manipur Global Buyers and Sellers Summit 2025. We extend our heartfelt thanks to our chairperson and all the distinguished speakers for their valuable insights and engaging discussions. We will now break for lunch. All delegates and participants are kindly requested to proceed to the dining area for lunch and networking. Please reassemble in the auditorium after lunch as we continue with the next session of the summit. Enjoy your meal and we will see you shortly. Thank you so much.